back to Retroactive, everybody. It is Venom / Witchy Day / Space Goonie Day. We are talking so much stuff. So before we jump in, let me go around the panel, introduce everybody. Of course, we got my bro, Josh McCoy. How you doing, buddy?
What's going, man? Good to be here. It's been a few weeks, you know. It's all Brandon's fault. We can just blame him. It's always his fault.
Yes,
he's a
totally.
fake fan of the Goonies, so you know. His opinion doesn't matter. So yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
and he
fake fan.
said
Wow.
Madam Web is God tier film. Like it's better than Avengers
Tired.
Endgame.
God,
My
tired.
bad.
And of course, my
God,
wife,
tired.
Ashlyn. Hi, babe.
Yeesh.
Hi, guys.
Coming straight from work.
Yeah.
First time on, I believe.
I gotta
as
say,
far
I'm
as-
loving the library backdrop we got. We got 2 of them now.
2 of them now. Yeah, that's right. Because first time officially on, we've got Kat. What's up? She's joining us. I mean, she's popped up a couple of times on Brandon's feed, but we're like, you were with us for Venom. We got to actually have you on and everything like that. Plus, like, you're awesome to begin with. But then we
had
also
to
have
up
the
the
other half of the relationship, you know,
Huh?
the guy, the Brandon. How you doing, bud?
Good.
The fake Goonies fan.
Goonies fan to the core.
So speaking of all the Goonies stuff that we're talking about here, we're going to jump straight into the new trailer for Space Goonies, a.k.a. Skeleton Crew. I will just be calling this Space Goonies pretty much throughout its entire run and then some. The trailer recently dropped the first full trailer. It looks pretty cool, honestly. Like, it's a fun family adventure type film. It is clearly taking a lot from like the Goonies type of thing and a few other movies like that. Just a fun like space adventure centered around a group of kids that like accidentally find the ship and get shot off into space. I believe this is still set during the whole like Mandalorian post-Empire era part of the timeline. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see as far as what they're talking about with all the space pirates and some of the droids and different characters are going to come across. What that's going to be. If we don't see Hondo in this, I'm going to be pissed, to be quite honest with you. If we're going to have all these different space pirates coming at them, I don't need him to be in the whole series, but I need a cameo from him in one way, shape, or form. And not just him showing up on a screen or something like that, just to be clear. But Ashlyn, I'm going to start with you. What did you think of the Skeleton Crew trailer?
I think it looks cute. I think I've maybe seen Goonies once in my entire
Big
childhood
fan.
/
Big fan.
life. So
The real fake fan.
So it looks cute. I mean, I'm along for the ride. I pretty much enjoy all of the Star Wars shows that have been put out in one way, shape, or form. So I'm just kind of along for the ride in the adventure and wherever it takes us. I do back up your Hondo thing. If we don't see him, like you said, actually him, not just some sort of like hologram, I want to see him at least for like an episode or 2.
Yeah, that would definitely be ideal. Josh, any thoughts on this? I know you're not that big into the whole Star Wars universe type thing.
Yeah, no, I'm more of a casual fan. But all I want to see after watching that trailer is I don't know the character's name, but if I don't see that little blue elephant with a lightsaber and fight Grogu, I'm gonna be
Why is he fighting?
I think
I
you're
don't
going to be
know.
very disappointed then.
No, no,
Please
it's
fight
just the battle of the
Grogu.
Grogu's because you know Disney's gonna, money bank that thing, and we're gonna be plushies everywhere. It's gonna be the new Grogu. That was the first thing I thought of when I saw that trailer.
No, I said it
No,
before
you
we
might be on
jumped
the
on
something.
that we need to see the little. What did you say his name was, Kat?
I think it's Eli. It's
Eli-
very like
E-
basic.
Eli the
name.
elephant.
The little
Yeah.
version of Max Rebo. If he doesn't do the truffle shuffle, then we'll be disappointed.
I just need to see them go at it with some lightsabers. I don't think Grogu has one yet, if I remember correctly, but he will get one.
I don't know that we're going to see a lightsaber in this one. To be quite honest with
Probably
you,
not.
They're-
But I just
they-
want
I kind of hope we don't.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
they kind of teased. I think it was the teaser, not the trailer. I can't remember that shows Jude Law's character. What they think is using the Force to take something. Like I think they're trying to break out, but I think it's going to end up being a fake thing, kind of like with in Obi-Wan Kenobi with the character that was faking being a Jedi to get people off of the planet they were on. I don't think it's going to be the exact same situation. He might be Force sensitive. Like he might be able to use the Force, but I don't think he's like a full-on Jedi. I don't think we're going to see Jude Law with a lightsaber. And I'm totally fine with that. Kind of like you guys. Like I'd like to have a story that's separated from that sort of thing, kind of like when we started with The Mandalorian. With the first season, we were kind of separated a little bit from that, other than the fact that Grogu could use the Force. Kat, other than the fact that you love, I like that you have
I had
the
to
stuffing.
switch out.
Love the
They're Star Wars
you know,
appropriate.
the new little Max Rebo character. What are your thoughts
He's
on the
adorable.
trailer?
They look good. I'm excited for the ride. There's not much Star Wars show that I don't like, but I also don't know a lot about the Skeleton Crew like Brandon does. He knows like the lore and stuff. I'm waiting.
Clearly,
What?
This is a brand new thing. No one's seen anything.
I
of
thought
it
you
yet.
said it was. Huh.
No, I was talking
thought
about
she was
Goonies.
joking.
No, I thought
No.
you were saying something about. Never mind.
No.
It's Star Wars related, but did you
Yeah.
guys see that there's the Rey movie coming out that it
Yeah.
actually might be a whole
Yeah.
trilogy, a Rey trilogy, not just a
I've seen
movie.
it.
I hope it's a one and done. I don't see why they need a whole trilogy. That would
I think
kinda
if
just defeat
anything,
the
it wouldn't
purpose of calling it
necessarily.
episode 10.
Didn't they just
Yeah.
do that already though with this? Not again. We're talking about Skeleton
They-
Crew, but like they just pretty much already did that with these last 3 movies.
Straight up, yeah.
Yeah,
There's
I don't
no
know.
point for a trilogy.
I don't know that it's necessary for a trilogy for sure. I feel like there's other movies they could do that are built into the whole like what comes next type of thing, but it doesn't have to be a set trilogy centered around just her and the new Jedi Order type of thing. I don't know that that's really necessary, especially this short amount of time in between. It'd be another thing if they wanted to do episode 10, 11, 12 in another decade or something like that. That's a whole other story. But yeah, definitely not a trilogy for just her story going forward. But no, Kat, Skeleton Crew, this is a brand new
I
concept,
swear
brand new
that
set of
Brandon said
characters.
something about like Clone Wars or it being like linked up. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe
Brandon's the fake fan after
No.
all.
Yeah.
No, the only thing that I said was I was echoing what Andrew said about Hondo being in it. It would make sense for Hondo to be in it because
Oh,
it
what I
fits
heard then.
it fits not only the timeline for this, but also fits just the whole setting of it. Hondo's a space pirate. This is very piratesque.
Yeah.
Pirate-esque.
Overall, it just looks like a lot of fun. And I think that's something that we kind of need right now with Star Wars. We need something that's maybe just a little bit more lighthearted, a little more like, grounded in a sense, if you can say that, with this mystical world. And just something that kind of just draws people in with a fun, more lighthearted story. But we'll see more. I'm sure there will be like at least one more trailer before it drops. I believe it drops in December. And of course it's going to be the week-to-week thing, so it'll be over the course of like 2 months or however many episodes it is. God, I hate Disney Plus for doing that, but it's fine. It's fine. Josh,
By the
you
way,
have something to say?
I have an announcement I forgot to let you guys know.
Announce it.
I finally watched the God Tier film I've been wanting to watch forever now.
Slaughterhouse.
No, I already watched that. But Blood and Honey 2, the Winnie the Pooh movie, I
Oh,
finally
yeah.
watched the second one the other night, and I was like, yes. It was beautiful. It was
Congratulations.
French kiss. Whatever it is. How do we say it? But
Chef's kiss.
Chef's
honey.
kiss.
Chef's kiss.
French kiss.
We're struggling tonight, guys.
Oh my
Yeah.
Struggling.
I think we should just call it good night, everyone. You know?
Yeah, that's it. We're rusty.
It has been over a month. Let's keep moving along. So the next thing we're going to talk about here is the
Maybe I wanted to talk about Skeleton Crew.
did you? I mean, I thought you did. Do you have
Well,
something else
I
to
didn't.
say?
I didn't talk about it.
I'm so sorry. Please,
It's okay.
please talk about it. Please. Talk
We're
about
rusty,
Space
guys.
Goonies. Yes, let's do this. Brandon, please talk.
I am a fake Goonies fan. That being, I'm just kidding. No, I love the Goonies. Like that is a show, or excuse me, a movie that I grew up with throughout a lot of my childhood, courtesy of my dad shoving it down our throat. It was
Did you get a
fantastic.
Mr. Goonie? I don't
love
think
it.
so.
Yeah.
You get a Mr. Goonie.
I can't.
He was a side character of side characters. Okay. Anyway, no, I think that they're kind of hitting this on the nose too hard with it being like dubbed Space Goonies, and I really hope with this going into it that there is a little bit more originality, because it seems like the showrunners are really taking what people are saying as Space Goonies to heart.
Yeah.
And like just in that trailer, I heard a few things that were like really hard on the nose for like, oh, Goonies. And there's a little saying that somebody said in there too, and it was really close to Goonies Never Say Die. And I'm just like, dude, we got to stop this now. Like, too many people are gonna recognize this.
Yeah, I think
So-
like what you said, they heard what the original feedback from the teaser.
Yeah,
And then they're like, oh, well, we had these references that were just going to be fun. So we're just going to put every reference we put in the show in the trailer.
Yeah, it's gonna get super super annoying if they just go full into the the Goonies hype behind this.
Yeah.
So I hope that there's more originality. I hope there's more original story, and there's enough to separate it away from the Goonies. Can't even believe I'm having this conversation about Goonies and Star Wars. It's two total opposite things. So yeah, I think it'll be fun though. It's just,
I mean, but look at this. Look at this image. Like,
yeah.
There it is. There's Disney's moneymaker right there. The new Grogu.
I mean, I have to say this.
elephant.
I'm really excited about Jude Law joining the Star Wars
What?
universe.
I
What
am
the hell is
too.
that by Jude Law? That cat-looking thing.
So
That's Rocket Raccoon, brother.
Oh, that's the new
on
Rocket.
steroids. I don't know his name, but I believe he is like, it's in the essence of like those Cantina villains that they always see pop up, whether it's in figures from like the original trilogy and stuff like that. It's similar to that, and then I believe there's also like a race of creatures that we touch on in Clone Wars that it's in reference to, but I think it's a new character.
If
like,
it pops
from
up
the
at a
show.
convention, I want its autograph.
It's just like it's Space Werewolf, you know what I mean? Like it's like Space Teen Wolf right there. This is they're going all over the place with these 80s references in this show, and I mean, I'm for it. It's pretty funny.
The little girl looks like a little mini Wednesday in that photo.
Yeah.
With the little pigtail thing. Yeah, I'm kind of intrigued by the girl behind her with the like eye upgrades. I'm like, is this kind of like touching on
It
the
looks
whole
like Spy Kids.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it
Yeah.
touching on the people with the upgrades from Boba Fett? Like, is she like one of those people, or is it just maybe she was blind and they did digital ones? I don't know.
The X-Men movies.
Yeah, it's like a white storm, but but yeah. So there's a lot going on here, a lot we don't fully grasp yet. So we'll just have to wait and see how this goes. Anything else anyone has to say before we move on? Nope. All right, and moving on. So the next thing here, they dropped a teaser last week, I believe it was, for the continuation of Marvel's television and animation slate that's coming over the next year. There were teases for Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, for the third and final season of What If. We got teases for Daredevil, Born Again, Ironheart, and I know I'm missing Wonder Man, and I think like maybe one or two other things. There was a lot packed into this like 3-minute trailer. Now I'll say that as far as from the animation side, I'm fine with the whole like What If thing. I really don't have much interest in the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man series. I don't really have a lot of like high hopes for it or big expectations. My whole thing, and the fact that we didn't really touch on it, is disappointing. With season 2 of X-Men 97 hasn't really been touched on yet. So I'm pretty much assuming we're not getting that till 2026, which really pisses me off.
That's what Guy said.
Yeah, that's my one thing that I want to see from Marvel Animation. Everything else is on the back burner for me. As far as the live action shows, I'm obviously very excited about Daredevil. I don't think it's not that I'm against Ironheart in any way, shape, or form. I don't think it is like Ashley and I were talking about this the other night. It is not centered to be marketed to me specifically, and that's totally fine. That's we can totally branch out. That's why there's so many different comics. That's why there's so many different characters within Marvel and everything else in pop culture, for God's sakes. Like kind of like when they did Miss Marvel. That show's not centered to me. It was clearly geared towards like Gen Z and stuff like that. They did make it accessible for people of other generations to enjoy it, and you find things that you can like in characters that you like. So I'm hoping that that can be like that as well. I'm just not that hyped on it. And then I don't know shit about Wonder Man, so I have no opinions on that one in particular. But let me go ahead and jump over to our resident Marvel guy here, because I'm sure he has at least one or two opinions about this trailer. Josh, what do you think?
Yeah, I have a few. One, I get why they're like dump trunking all this stuff on us, but it's kind of ironic because he just said a few months ago that they're gonna, step back a little bit and we're not gonna have as much Marvel content, and then a few months later they drop all this stuff on us. But it really feels like this is all the stuff for Phase 4 that like they're like we already made it, so they have to put it out. So they're like, let's just throw it all at once. And then that way they can start moving on to the stuff they actually care about. That's what it feels like. It feels like they're just trying to like throw it out there to get rid of it. Because it's literally like 1 month after there's something every month in 2025 for Marvel, whether it's a movie or if it's a TV show or anything like that. So I feel like they're just trying to get it all out. And the only thing I was excited for on that list when it comes to Disney Plus was Daredevil, of course, because it's basically going to be season 4 from the Netflix stuff. Wonder Man's interesting. I know you said you made the joke about how I'm always trying to cuck out Wanda, but the reason why there's that love triangle thing. Have you guys followed Wonder Man at all in the comics?
No.
Nobody knows anything about him.
So basically, I'm trying to remember how exactly what Wonder Man is created from. Vision is created from Wonder Man. Like pretty much Vision's like they're pretty much two entities of the same. It comes from Zemo in the comics and whatnot. It's a whole weird thing. So that's how it becomes like a love triangle because Wonder Man is mentally connected to Vision. So they're kind of almost the same person in a way. It's very, very strange.
So it's a throuple is what you're saying.
Yeah. So yeah.
That is weird.
No, it is weird. But like I said, they're always putting Scarlet Witch in weird situations in the comics. If you really read it.
Well, clearly, I don't think that's going to be the basis of this version.
No, like I honestly, they didn't really tell us much of anything. It's Yaya auditioning for the role of Wonder Man and Wonder Man, so I don't really know what they're doing with that.
Yeah.
But Daredevil looked fantastic. What if it's fun? I don't really care for Eyes of Wakanda. I'm still gonna watch everything, and then also Spider-Man I'm a little iffy about. And what else was there? Ironheart, I agree with you. I don't know what to expect from that one either. I'm not that hyped on it. But like you said, it might not be for us, but I felt that way about Agatha and I ended up loving it. So
yeah,
we could end
be pleasantly surprised by a lot of things. You know what I mean?
So who knows? Might be surprised, but I'm here for it. It's more content for us next year. It's going to be a busy 2025. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope it's good.
Brandon, how about you?
Excuse me. Gosh. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. As soon as I went to go talk, I got stuck there. So
perfect timing.
Yeah, very good. No, I'm excited for the future of this. I mean, it's specifically with Daredevil, like he said. The one thing I was kind of, and I knew it was kind of far off, and I was not gonna get it was, something about Blade. I'm still low key hoping that that's gonna happen, but I've kind of accepted.
They did just say today that it's going around that actually might end up coming out before Secret Wars now. Everybody kept saying it's coming afterwards, but there's that secret film that's before, like after Spider-Man 4, and it's either going to be Doctor Strange 3 or Blade.
I feel like they need to cut it at this point. I want it to happen so bad, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, the latest update is Mahershala Ali likes the script. Like just like a week or two ago, he finally read the latest script and he's actually very happy with it. So
okay,
they're still.
I have not heard that. I don't know where you're getting. Like,
yeah, I didn't hear that either. Last I heard, they were like, it's basically scrapped.
Scrapped. Yeah,
I followed this
indefinitely like on the back burner.
I mean, but if we're gonna take our news from anybody, Josh is like, finger on the pulse.
Yeah.
Person, so he's just like this on Twitter every single day.
Yeah,
honestly,
actually, I don't have a Twitter, sir, and I should probably have one. But I do not have a Twitter.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, the new stuff, specifically What If. I don't know if y'all remember much about like the way that What If ended and the character that they introduced in it, but that kind of got me really hyped to see what more they could do with What If. My big hope with that is that they start capitalizing on more of the stuff that they're introducing into basically post phase 4. They really haven't touched much on, and it was kind of what season 2, kind of messed up on, was it like they kind of reverted back to a lot more of the original, characters and stuff from the first few phases of Marvel, and they didn't go on, some of the new characters that they have introduced. They did a little bit.
They created a whole new character in the new one.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about like a lot of the characters that they introduced, such as Moon Knight and such like that, that they put into the MCU for a reason. I was expecting to see a little bit more in in the second season of What If, and that really wasn't there.
Yeah,
They
you're
kind
saying
of
like as opposed to rehashing the original like
yeah,
team
and they
type of
yeah
thing.
exactly yeah. I want to
Mhm.
see a little bit more of some of the characters that they've put into Marvel, into the MCU, in these What If series. I mean, there's a few you could do off Moon Knight. There's a few you could do off of Miss Marvel. I mean, there's room to go around with this, and
Mhm.
they don't need to keep reverting.
Well,
In my
Storm was in
opinion,
the trailer. I don't know if y'all caught that. So Storm's
I
gonna
did
be in What
not.
If.
But I could see them, doing a lot more with the characters that they've introduced, since right now, I mean, they've been on the back burner. With the exception of Miss Marvel being in the Marvels, we haven't heard anything from Moon Knight, and they kind of left that on a cliffhanger.
Mhm.
And I'm biased to Moon Knight, but I'm using it as an example. I think there's more that they could do with the series What If, and put into effect, more of these characters to help the overall story that they're telling in What If, which is awesome, by the way. So I'm, aside from Daredevil, I'm secondly most hyped for that.
Yeah, I get that. Like there's part of me that's kind of like a little disappointed that they're going to be ending it after only 3 seasons, because What If comics have been going for such a long time, and I'm
Yeah.
not saying that we need a season every year. If they wanted to, wait a year or two in between and come back to it, that's cool. And it was cool that they did some continuous stuff, like building upon,
Yeah.
And bringing back some characters for, their
Mhm.
Avenger episode, if you will, type of thing. But we don't necessarily need to keep doing that, especially now with the way that it ended with the last season.
Correct.
I feel like just have a bunch of these one-off episodes, kind of like the first season was,
Bingo.
and that's what I want to see. Like the fact
Me
that
too.
we got, I know there is an actual Marvel zombie mini series coming,
Yeah.
but that episode was fun, and I know that you were talking about some newer characters. We did get a little glimpse of like Cowboy Shang-Chi, so like that's
we did.
funny.
We get it. We did get him. That's correct.
I want to see a bunch of cowboy versions. We can have like the like in Spider-Verse with the cowboy the horse was freaking Spider-Man or something like that. In Spider-Verse, like stuff like that. Like let's get weird. This is What If.
Do you think because they're trying, or do you think if they weren't trying to like fast track the multiverse saga to kind of get out of it, we would get more What If? Or do you think they're kind of cutting it off because after the multiverse saga, What If is kind of, it's a multiversal thing?
I think really, I mean, they're kind of missing the mark. If anything, there's something to be said about the fact that with What If, you could do anything you really wanted to you're not in a closed little box. They got the world to work with. So it's mainly, I mean, I feel like they could do good stories with substance, like Andrew's saying, one-off episodes, but they could do it in as much as they wanted to, because there's so much you could do with that, and really they could go nuts with, and I don't know why they're not.
I mean, not that I want to see this, but just as an example, I was in the comic shop the other day, and they did a What If series of like Disney characters as Marvel characters. I don't want to see that.
I don't either.
See that in cartoon form.
I think that's going a little too far.
But that's just an example of how long they've been doing it and how many random stories they've done. Where you've gotten to the point where they're like, it's like Mickey Mouse or like Donald is Thor or something like that. Like something really out there. So it's just I understand what Josh was saying. Like they kind of tied it into the whole multiversal type thing, even though it is like very loosely connected to the MCU. It's more like it's connected within the animated sphere because they put the Watcher in X-Men 97 and things like that. So we're not 100% connected to the live action MCU, but it is, I guess, technically
they're
there.
They're taking it, I think, a little too seriously.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's it's not a bad complaint, so to speak, but it's just, I think that they're hindering themselves when they could really use this as their filler for anything they wanted to. If they wanted to branch 2 shows together and they have a gap here, they could put What If season 3, season 4, season 5 in there, and it's just one-off episodes, and fans would be happy with it because it's just more content that's not serious that we're gonna love no matter what. I mean, it's an easy win. And
I'm gonna jump this over to sorry, Brandon. Just before we keep keep going because we could talk about this all day. I do want to hear from Ashlyn and Kat.
Yeah.
I want to jump to Ashlyn, but I'm going to start it off with a question. So Josh brought up the fact that apparently we're going to see Storm in this. Do you think that it's going to be the 97 Storm, like a version of that, same voice actress and everything, or do you think that this is going to be something completely different? Like, obviously, it's a what if episode, so it is not canon to X-Men 97. But do you think that they're going to maybe use her and possibly some other like X-Men 97 voice actors for that particular episode?
I would like them to do that. I think those voice actors deserve it and everything like that. I think it would be kind of dumb on their part to go and cast different people just because they're using What If. Mm-hmm. So I hope that they do bring, obviously they've got Storm, but if they bring any of the other X-Men 97 cast or X-Men characters, they use the 97 look and the voice actors for that. So that would be cool. I'm also super hyped for What If. I've enjoyed every season they've done so far. I agree with Brandon. I would like to see some of the more obscure characters and newer characters that have been brought in. It's cool that the first 2 seasons were all about mostly our original characters from the, phase 1 through 4, but now it's time to kind of bring in some new blood, people, and new stories, and that would be awesome. I did really love the one about the original character, the Native American girl, and her story was really awesome. Mm-hmm. So I think we can just keep running with those type of stories.
What an incredible character that they created.
It was ballsy and it worked so well.
So original and so well put together. Just absolutely no notes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was literally on the edge of my seat the whole time, just locked in on that episode. Didn't know where it was going, and that was so cool to just be able to follow that story and not be disinterested. You were so locked in the whole time of wanting to know where that story was going. Mm-hmm. And it was just like you all are agreeing with me saying it's just beautifully done. So
and to do that with a character that we don't know.
They're giving her own comic book. I don't know where I heard that from, but
I heard that too, that they're doing that, and then there's also a chance that we might get a live action version in the next couple of years or something like that. Damn. It might not be till after Secret Wars, I don't know. But they were talking that because of such positive feedback that they want to get it right. They want to give it time. I don't know that she's going to necessarily have her own movie, but that we might see a live action version of her in a couple of years or something like that. Which, as long as they give as much attention and detail to that as they did the original version that was created for What If, I'm all for it. Anything else that you want to touch on, Ashlyn, about the Marvel TV or anything like that before we jump to Kat?
Sure. I am excited for Daredevil. Obviously, we've got to actually go and watch.
We got to catch up
on the series and everything. I'm excited for that. So, question: as far as the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, is that animated or is it
animated?
Okay, so
and it is not Tom Holland voicing it.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I don't have to have.
No,
that.
I was just telling you.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they're gonna try to recreate the '90s one, I'm all for that because that show.
No.
Okay,
I'm sorry. No. Let me. I'm ripping the Band-Aid off because there's actually talk of them. They're trying to push for Spider-Man 97 type of thing. They're trying to actually do what they did with X-Men and do a continuation of the 90s version. This has nothing to do with it. They're not even rebooting it. Is what this version is. It is its own thing. They're actually rewriting some of his lore in it and stuff like that, from what I'm hearing. So it is it's kind of like if you take the Tom Holland version, but you rewrite it into a different version of the Marvel Universe. Yeah. It's just very weird and bizarre. It doesn't mean it can't be good. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump on you like that, but because you mentioned that one specifically, I just want to be it's not going to be anything like that.
You know what they could have done with it?
Way I would be kind of super excited for it because I really enjoyed the 90s animated TV show growing up. That was one of my things that I watched even more than the original X-Men series or anything like that. So that was my other big Saturday morning cartoon for me. So I loved that. And they could obviously do like what they were doing with X-Men 97 and give like a little bit of updated graphics and versions, and maybe, you know, not make it so campy at times that they had with the Spider-Man one, because it did get kind of corny there a little bit. But it also was kind of serious at the same time. So it was weird. It kind of towed that line. But I guess all of that is dashed. They're not doing that. So I don't know. I probably will be very anxious to see what they do with it and see if I'm even interested in it. But other than that, as far as like the future stuff with Marvel going forward, Ironheart, I want to be optimistic about, because I really liked the character in the movie with
Black Panther 2.
Panther 2 and everything, and I thought it was a really neat concept. I just don't know where we're gonna go from here and what they're doing. So I will have low expectations so that I don't get disappointed. But hopefully it turns out to just be, even if it's not the best thing, just something interesting, like an interesting story for a different group of people that I can appreciate in some way, shape, or form, even if it's not my favorite.
I feel like they could have possibly, and not to take away from her story or anything like that, because clearly they wanted to do this as a series, but if they could have maybe found a way to mesh Ironheart with Armor Wars as one thing, like find a way to blend those two stories together, I think could have been a very interesting, fun way to like be able to get both of those things and get more. You'll have some of the old school Marvel fans because of Don Cheadle's character returning, and more than likely the Justin Hammer returning and stuff like that, and in that aspect. And then you have the Ironheart aspect to bring in the younger crowd. And who knows, maybe she will show up in the Armor Wars thing in some capacity. I don't know, but I think that maybe if they had done that, whether it be a series or a movie, maybe would have been a better course of action as far as to kind of like get the best of both worlds type of thing.
Yeah.
But Kat, let's jump to you before we move on here. Any thoughts on the whole like Marvel TV, Marvel animation, or otherwise?
I don't really have much else to say. You guys really covered a lot of it.
It's the problem when we have 5 people.
I am excited for Ironheart. I feel like it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good story. But like you said, it's for a different generation than us. But I still think it's going to be a good time. I'm like Ashley, not having my hopes too high. But I'm still going to watch it, and hopefully it's going to be good.
Yeah, I'm very much in the camp of like what I was mentioning to Ashley. Like, I would love to see a continuation of the 90s Spider-Man series come back, if they can do it in the way that they did X-Men 97, because that is like, I don't know what I don't have anything to say, but that first season of X-Men 97 is just like top level tier. Marvel. Yeah, god tier, top tier, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
like just not just for Marvel, just storytelling, and it's like. It was every single episode a 10 out of 10? No, but it's, it's a series. That's how series are going to be. But for the most part, it was like so many incredible moments just in one season alone. And to pick up where a show left off 30 years ago almost is insane. So maybe they can do something like that with Spider-Man. I think that would be a fun thing to do. But we can talk Marvel all day. We're going to continue to talk Marvel as we move forward, just different parts of Marvel. So we're going to save Agatha for last because I'd like to end on positive notes. We're going to now talk about our favorite movie of the year since Madam Web, Venom, The Last Dance.
Isn't this the movie that Kat gave a 10 out of 10?
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
I do want to get an update on that because Ashlyn's like, even with her grading, she's like, yeah, the longer it sits with me, the lower my number gets. So Kat, I'm going to start with you this time, especially since you were the last one for the last category. What are your thoughts on this movie? Like, as far as have things changed for you? We're talking full spoilers, so spoiler alert. I mean, it's been out for a couple of weeks now. I think everybody pretty much knows what's going on. So you can talk spoilers, whatever you want to talk about. Go.
I feel like there were still funny scenes, like the little dance, but they didn't make sense. I agree with you guys. Like, they were just out there, and I think that's why they were funny, is they were just so far out there. But it was not great. my rating has gone down. Like,
okay, what would you give it now?
What did I give it last time? A 6 out of 10?
So you ended up
I think it was a 5.
So you
A
said
5.
4.5 to a 5 overall, but you gave it 10 out of 10 comedy and a 4 out of 10 for story.
The ranker, is it Madam Web bad or Morbius bad?
Oh, I
We
think
haven't
it ranks-
seen Madam Web because
Yeah, I'm not.
why
I
bother?
just heard about it. So I can't use that.
I would say, like, and I'm sorry to interject, just from what Josh said, I'd say I liked Morbius more than I liked this movie. But
Me too.
but Kat, please continue.
We've seen Morbius. I haven't seen Madam Web, but probably 3 out of 10.
Damn.
It wasn't awful, but it wasn't great.
Will we watch it again? Probably not.
Probably not. This is
Like
one
we'll
of
never
those.
watch Madam Web.
It's so disappointing because, you know, and we talked about this as a group. We've talked about it since. I've talked about it with other people. Like, there's a lot of people that haven't seen this movie that I've come across and have like asked me my opinion on it and stuff like that. Just the short version is this is the worst of the trilogy, and it sucks because it's supposed to be the last one. You know, like
I have no idea how many people have argued me on that point.
And I know
No idea. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense.
You're not
None.
alone. I've had some people do that to me too.
I don't
it's
understand
crazy.
it at all, dude.
I'm like,
Yeah.
did we see 2 different movies? Like,
Yeah.
Did we get the B version? I don't.
I have heard the complete opposite from multiple people. Oh, it's the best of the trilogy. I'm like, God, what?
Says who? Like,
Yeah.
Like, did you even watch the first 2 films? Because I think we're all pretty much in agreement that like Carnage was a step down from the first one.
100%. Yeah.
But it still I think is better than this one.
Yeah.
Like, so for me, it's
there
1, 2, 3.
Story made a little more sense in this
Carnage. What Carnage had over this movie was the fact that it was 1, Woody fucking Harrelson, and 2, it was fucking Carnage.
Right. We had a clear.
It actually made sense.
Yeah. So yeah, the story made sense. His character was good. The execution and the writing was poor.
Right.
And that was the problem with that movie is that whoever decided, I don't even know who decided to make that movie, but whoever did a fucking awful job at it. And they just butchered what could have been one of the greatest fucking villains we've seen in Marvel at like on screen. He is one of the best villains in Marvel, period. And people know what Carnage looks like. Like, normies, no offense, but like normies that aren't into like, they know what Carnage looks like because he's on so many t-shirts. It's just butchered opportunity. But this fucking movie, I just have to say again, it was completely pointless. There was no reason for it to be made because what did it accomplish? The whole thing about this movie was like, oh, but they're going to bring Nolan into this. They're going to bring Nolan to the MCU. And then you start off seeing Noel, and then you go through a whole goddamn movie, and he flashes up every once in a while in like this alternate, I don't even know where the fuck he is. No one knows where the fuck he is. Alternate dimension or,
I didn't even
alternate
catch
time,
that.
something like that. But he's just fucking in the shadows. And then they never bring him into the light. They never bring him in. And there is no actual main villain for the movie. That's the biggest problem that I have with it. And that's what I keep telling people that are like, this is the best out of the 3. It's like, okay, what was your favorite villain? And then they're like, wait, what do you mean? I'm like, exactly. Like, you don't understand. Like, that's my point is like, there is no actual villain in this movie. You see a glimpse of a villain.
The villain is Sony for making it.
Yeah. Oh, damn. You're right, though. You're right. So, like, it's like they did that thing where they introduced Thanos over the course of the few Avengers movies and stuff like that in the end credit scenes. That's what we saw from Noel. But he was supposed to be the bad guy in this movie. They chalked it up. They started like the whole hype for this was to have him in the movie, and they did not even do that. You saw his gremlins going after Venom, but like, I mean, but like there was no actual main bad guy.
Well, it's crazy because it's really just one up until the end. It's just like one of his minions going after them until the very end of the movie. So really the villain is the one creature that just keeps dying and reforming.
It's a blender on 4 legs. That's all it was.
That's not even
Blender on 4 legs.
And it had no name. It was.
It had a name. I forget the name, but it had a name.
It was a fucking.
But it
minion.
wasn't its personal name. It
Right.
was
It's
the name of
a creature name, like the symbiote.
Yeah,
thing,
it's just it was so unbelievably pointless. To have basically
like
Noel's tool and weapon go after him, but the weapon is never the main villain. It's like, Loki's scepter wasn't the villain of Avengers. It just that's the way I'm viewing this. It doesn't make any sense at all why they did it. The end credit scenes were fucking stupid as hell. Doesn't make any sense. And all these people are reaching about that, by the way. If you haven't seen, the people are like, "Oh my god, no! Where the bartender steps out, it's actually Battle World." It's like, no, it's not. He's stepping out, and it's like
Area 51's destroyed. That's what it is.
That's all it is.
they
He
had
was in
taken
Area
him there.
51, and people are reaching so hard to try to make this make sense, and it was just a flop, and there's no other way around it. Yeah, there was some fun parts, and it was, it was just a movie flick. I mean, it just, you have nothing better to do, go see this movie type of movie.
Yeah.
But that's all that can be said about it. It's just boring.
I was talking to a friend of mine, Steven, and he hasn't even seen the movie because he was originally going to join us for the screening, and at the last minute he wasn't able to go. And so I texted him when we got. I was like, you can skip this one, bud. But I was talking to him in person later on, and just the other day about it, and I told him about the whole lack of villain thing, and that it was like a creature the whole time, and he gave a really good like comparison, but the difference of like how this movie versus how Venom did it was he used the Eternals with the whole like that entity thing that like evolved over the course of the movie. So we eventually got to a villain-esque character, even if it wasn't the big bad that they really need to face off with, but we got there. This one doesn't do that. This one doesn't establish anything and grow that character at all, because it is a mindless killing machine sent by the actual villain and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, that's a really good example, like a comparison of like how you should do it versus how this was executed. And he didn't even see the freaking movie. But yeah, this... Yeah, I don't know. Ashlyn, anything you want to talk on? Maybe like about the different symbiotes we got to see, which was kind of cool. There was that
thing I liked the most. I thought the whole like Area 51 angle was cool, that they have all the different symbiotes.
This is a bad picture, by the way, but like it's really old art. I don't mean to say it's bad, but it's not great. I couldn't find any images of any of the symbiotes online other than the like the tealish green one that we start off with, and that none of those images were that good either. So this was as good as I could get.
But I really loved the purple one that takes over Keely from
Ted Lasso.
So her character, and
I think it was Agony, right?
Agony, that's right. That was really cool. The black girl and the one that she gets taken over by, like, all of them were really cool. That was probably the best part of the film for me, was watching. Christmas was her nickname. I don't remember. They always called her Christmas.
So she had the little Christmas pin,
Christmas
is what
tree,
she's talking about.
Yeah. So, but I thought all of those were really cool to see, all the different symbiotes, and that they were like here to protect the earth and like whatever that was all about. I wish we would have gotten some more explanation on that, or like how they got here. I feel like they showed a little blip of something, but we didn't know what the context was, and it was like how they got here, but because there was no context, because before the only 3 that were here were the ones from the first movie.
It's like another asteroid hit and they exited out of that, but they just barely touched on it. And apparently it hit, some of them had killed like the Chiwetel Ejiofor's like entire team or whatever type of thing when it all went down, but we don't really see that happen.
Did anyone else get Transformers vibes from this movie?
Yes.
Like kind of like just the whole like, our Earth is dead. We had to come to Earth, and now we're gonna protect Earth from the villain that destroyed our home. It's like, that's fucking Transformers, dude.
I mean, it is. That was the other weird thing about this movie, was they completely changed the dynamic of what the symbiotes were doing in this version, because originally they were going to take over and just like change our world to theirs, and now they're like, no, we're here to help you, which I like that version better, but we should have I mean, it doesn't really make sense, but the reason I say I like it better is because we got to see all these different team up symbiote things where we got to see them in action. That's the only reason I say I like it more. It doesn't really make sense, but but yeah.
Yeah, so that part was cool. The Area 51 stuff was like interesting. The hippie family was completely unnecessary.
So stupid.
It's
Like
pointless.
this is what we're talking about, people. Like there's so much unnecessariness, and y'all think it's the best of the trilogy. Like,
Yeah.
what? Seriously,
And then the
I don't
whole, like,
normally call
them
people out for their
in-
They were
opinions,
there
but
for
what
a
the
good
fuck?
portion of the movie too.
yeah,
Yeah.
like the whole
It did,
latter
yeah,
half-
exactly. I was waiting for it to make sense, and it
The whole
never
middle,
happened.
they were there, and like all the way through the end, I'm like, why?
It wasn't even an arc point at all
No.
for Eddie whatsoever. There was nothing
It was
there.
they
That,
were his transportation. That was literally it.
yeah, they were an Uber.
And then
They
we
were an
ended up in
Uber.
a whole like Las Vegas ad. Like I don't know how
Yeah.
much money Vegas put into this movie.
The
but
Paris
they
hotel got a
kept
lot of money out of this one, apparently.
Yeah, which is a gorgeous hotel. If you ever go to Las
Yeah.
Vegas, Paris is highly recommended. It's a gorgeous hotel, but I was just like, I felt like I was in an ad for Las Vegas the whole time
Yeah.
that they were doing the Vegas stuff. Like it made really no sense
None.
why he was there.
Josh, anything you got to add to the
Popcorn bucket was
monstrosity?
cool.
Yeah.
That's probably the best part of the movie was the silver popcorn bucket.
Ketchup.
I can go on a whole tangent about this movie, but I'm not
And
going to
fucking do
that.
it.
Like I said in an out of theater reaction, it's a movie. It's a pointless movie.
That's the whole quote line
intro
right
with Noel. Like even when we first watched, I'm like, this is very jarring. Like they just jump right into it, and it'll go from something like because the parts that Noel was in, it was like aesthetically it was cool, but they'll go from that, and then it would jump from like I'm gonna destroy your world to Eddie singing in a hippie van or Eddie dancing in Vegas, and it was just like it was two different tones going on at the same time.
Mhm.
And Mordo is a military guy now, and it's just none of the whole movie made absolutely no sense. They kind of retcon No Way Home's post credit scene because they changed it to where the portal looks different, and they never showed him actually leaving symbiote this time, so that might be a retcon. And the fact that Eddie's not traumatized at all from just going to a different universe and learning about Thanos and all the Avengers, and he gets put back into his, and he just like, all right, let's go on a road trip, not phased at all that he was just in a whole different universe. You would think that would have some kind of impact on him mentally, and they could have like probably got a good story off of that to where like I don't know, I felt they could have come up with a good story about that. And Noel's a multiversal villain, and it could have been maybe Noel found them because he started tampering with the multiverse some way, shape, or form because now he learned about it, and then that's how Noel found Venom and stuff. I don't know.
Mhm.
But they could have done a lot with this movie.
It's so disappointing that because of this, we might not actually see Noel. Like,
and
going
how do you
forward.
get Andy Serkis and botch it? Like Andy Serkis.
It wasn't Andy's fault.
No, but like, and then like
Yeah.
the post credit scene, they finally show his face, and he looks like a video game character. And like all the scenes Noel was in, it did look like a cutscene from a video game.
Yeah,
He
And it's
straight
just
up
like-
looked like he was a boss in Elden Ring. I'm not
Mm.
kidding.
Yeah.
If he
can
looked
see
like
it.
an Elden Ring boss because you hit the nail on the head. Video game character. He was given an Elden Ring vibe.
leading up to this movie, there were so many rumors about him possibly being him at the end of this, Venom and Noel finding their way into 616 and him being the villain for Spider-Man 4. And now I just hope they keep this shit away from Spider-Man. And I think Sony's, from what I'm hearing, Sony's plan is if they can't put in Spider-Man 4, they're gonna have there it goes. They're gonna have
time.
Noel versus their version of the Sinister Six. So Noel versus Craven, Morbius, Madam Web, Vulture, and whoever else, Rhino. But what are they gonna do?
I can tell you
against-
that's not going to
against
happen
Noel?
because there's no way that Dakota Johnson is coming back.
Yeah.
Well, they can probably get everybody else to do it, and knowing Sony, they're still gonna make them. But that just sounds like a horrible
There's
movie. The
no way
Sinister
Sabrina
Six.
Carpenter would come back.
It's not Sabrina Carpenter, hun.
Oh,
Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney. Sorry.
Well, no, she might be. Well, now she's in talks to be Black Cat in Spider-Man 4. So she's
Right.
completely like ditching that whole thing and gonna do the whole Black Cat thing.
So what
It's
you're
between
saying
her
is,
and Jenna Ortega. I think it's going back and forth.
so you're saying whether this should be, connected to Spider-Man or not, your vote is nay.
No Venom horse. No.
Sorry, I wanted to use that photo at least once. I was like, I haven't used it the whole time. I'm going to find a dumbass way to connect it. Okay, here we go. So yeah, basically the gist is we didn't like this movie.
The fact that we live in a world that when more stoked on Agatha than Venom is fucking mind blowing. Like you would never think that that'd be the case.
This is the darkest timeline.
But like I
Yeah.
was actually looking forward weekly to watching Agatha, a character I cared nothing about in WandaVision for the most part until the show. What she was. Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. You would think we'd be more hyped on. You would think we would be talking about Agatha and praising Venom, but it's the other way around.
And
Honestly,
in case you have, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brendan.
Yeah.
No. I was just agreeing with him. He's hitting the nail on the head because that's exactly how I thought this was going to go. I thought I was going to be the odd one out thinking Venom was shit, and all of you guys thinking it was good.
I think we were all sitting there in the theater being like, "What the
Bro,
fuck?"
I was
Like,
dozing
No,
off.
not these two. No, I can't point to.
I
them.
was literally dozing off. I never fall
We were
asleep,
cracking up.
especially during a Marvel
We were
movie, and I
cracking
was
up.
falling asleep in the theater. I don't know if it was because we had a late showing
It
or
was
if I
just
was
a
bored.
stupid scene.
I had the itis from
It
that
was, like,
that dinner
slapsticky,
Yeah.
stupid,
with that
and
cheesecake.
Yeah.
I had my
See-
children's burger.
I was worried that everything was kind of like ruined for me because the people I was sitting next to wouldn't shut the hell up. And so I waited till about maybe 30 minutes in before I said something. But even then they were still kind of talking, but they were at least talking quietly. But at first the dude like 2 seats
Wait,
over from
really?
me was like, yeah, man, this is gonna be really cool. Like, oh, look at that thing right there. And I finally was like, bro, can you not? I was just like,
I didn't
didn't hear
notice
that.
any of that.
yeah. Well, I mean, you got to think that would be about 4 or 5 seats over from where you
True,
were
yeah.
seated. I was like, here I am. There's one dude next to me. He's quietly talking to his buddy, but the buddy next to him is loud talking. And so literally 30 minutes in, I had to tell him to like shut the hell up. And so I was kind of like pissed off for a good chunk of the movie because like he would still kind of like like the whole time. So I was like, okay, maybe this is affecting my viewing, but nope, I don't think that was it. It's clearly just the movie. But y'all can check out our initial out of theater reactions on YouTube, TikTok, all that good stuff. We posted that. The funny thing is like with TikTok in particular, only one person commented and was like, well, I liked the movie. And I'm like, good for you.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah.
else, like nobody else commented, but that video got a lot of likes. So we must not be completely alone in this, in our thought process here, but
I don't know.
Enough-
Cat gave
enough
it
of
10 out
this.
of 10.
Cat gave it 10 out of 10. Let's move
In
on to our
comedy.
final segment of the night. We're going to talk about Agatha All Along. Now, a series that, like Josh has mentioned, that not all of us were really that hyped about going into it. Kind of understandable because it's weird. We get the spinoff for this like random character in the MCU that's also a very niche random character, even in the comics type of thing, is very much connected to Wanda and everything like that as far as her origins and kind of like the bringing of her children into existence type of storyline. So I get that, but it was a very weird choice. But this ended up being, in my opinion, one of the best Marvel TV series we've had on Disney Plus, and it's shocking. I actually did because of this. I didn't even really care about doing a like week to week thing. I wanted to just wait till it was over and just talk about it as a whole. And even though I talk about how I hate doing the whole week to week thing, Josh is right. It kept me engaged. It kept me wanting to come back, and I enjoyed a lot about this. But I want to start with our resident witch here. So Ashlyn, Witchy Honey, what did you think of the witch show?
I had full faith in this from the get.
Of course you did.
This is gonna be great. I'm here for it. I was like, anything continuing off of WandaVision, I was all about. Obviously, I didn't really have like much love for Agatha from WandaVision in that series because, of course, she's the villainess and like everything. But I thought her character had great substance. Yeah, I thought it was a weird choice and I didn't know where they were going to go with it. But I was like, I was all for the ride. I'm like, okay, wherever they're going, let's ride it out and see how it goes. And I just, once we started getting the teasers and getting more story, I was like, okay, I'm all in. So I loved it from episode 1 to the end, and getting to see her character evolve and getting to, see Teen's character evolve and figure out his whole story and everything that you find out with his involvement, and just honestly, all the women were fantastic. All of their characters had such depth to them. Honestly, I'd say maybe the weakest one, other than, of course, Mrs. Hart, which
R.I.P.
will forever be Kitty for me. But
Exactly.
but other than her, but as far as like the real witch characters of that, I'd say maybe the only other one that I felt like we didn't get as much backstory on her specifically was the
fire one.
the
The one that
Asian
ends
girl.
up the one that ends up dying from Agatha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like we get
She was
all
the fire
backstory.
witch, is why I said that.
Yeah, I forgot. You know, everything with her was very much the backstory of her mom and the women in her line.
Yeah,
So,
generational trauma type of thing.
Yeah. So like it was really great. I just think, overall with the other witches, you were getting their story and their connection. So I think hers was probably the least delved into as far as her personally, but still a great character. Like all the women knocked it out of the park, and it was just overall such an interesting, well done story. It was executed well. The story was just really well written. All the women portrayed their characters really well. I have honestly 0 notes other than the fact that I just want it to keep going and I want a season 2. I don't know that that's going to happen. I don't know if we're going to call it something different now moving forward, but I want to see where it goes.
It's going to be a Wiccan show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if they call it Wiccan and they follow Wiccan, and I just want to see where it carries on after this point as far as finding Tommy. And
what's Tommy's alternate name? Is it Speed or what is it?
Speed.
I think it's Speed.
Speed.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah. So maybe it'll be like a, Falcon Winter Soldier thing where it starts off as Wiccan, then at the end it's like Wiccan and Speed or something like that.
So wherever it goes, I'm along for the ride, and I'm excited to see more. Obviously, Wiccan's character was, that whole last 2 episode arc was just mind blowing when you figure everything out with the road, and then with Agatha and her history of how the road, does and doesn't exist. So
yeah, that was a mind fuck right there.
Yeah.
Holy shit. What a twist. That was some M. Night Shyamalan type shit right there to pull in the final episode there. And then the way that they explained and kind of took you all the way back. I was like, wait, the final episode, we're going to do a massive flashback? What the hell are we doing? And then we finally understand it. I'm sorry, what'd you say, Josh?
I feel like they should have swapped 7 or 8 and 9.
Yeah, it's almost like they could have mixed it a little bit differently, but I mean, it's fine and it's better. It was executed better than the whole flashback thing in episode, what was it, 5 or 6 for the Acolyte type of thing. It was executed better there, even though it was at the very end of the series than what Acolyte did. So I can't give them too much crap about that. Kat, I'm gonna jump to you because I know you were super hyped on the costume type stuff.
They were such detailed.
Yeah,
his
I couldn't
cape.
get too close of an image of Wiccan to really get the full detail of it, but this gives y'all just the general idea. But yeah, Kat, go ahead.
Now there was just so much detail and attention, with his cape and one side being Vision and the other side being Wanda's patterns, and just the side of his outfit and everything like that was just awesome. Even Lady Death's outfit.
Mm-hmm. I've got that one too, right here.
Everything.
How it was
God damn.
flowers and earth.
I loved this look, by the way. Again, couldn't really get a full shot, but the top, even the top piece with the shoulders with the vines and everything, because of her being the Green Witch, capital G, is just, it looks amazing. The costume design on this show, top notch. Because every time they're having to go to a different trial, and so the outfits change and everything like that. We got all the different versions of witches. We had of course, all those constant Wizard of Oz notes and everything like that. All the different outfits from the different time periods and everything else. I mean, this show is going to win an award for like costume design or something like that. Has to.
Yeah.
Has to. Any other thoughts about the show overall, though, Kat?
Overall, it was just really good. Like, we look forward to watching it every week. My only part that I was like, how, at the very end, you see, I don't remember her name. It was the potions witch.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
And she's like coming out from the ground, but like, how did she come out from the ground outside of the city? It just didn't make sense.
How did she if Tommy was making it all, or if he was making it, if Wiccan was making it all up?
Because it was real.
It was
like
real.
hex,
He
just
made
like
it real. It just like WandaVision. He made it real. So there were he made tunnels under Westview and stuff like that. So she was coming out of the ground from the tunnels that was created. It just when he destroyed it, because yes, it was kind of like it showed that, but this is before he took it away. You know what I mean? Type of thing. But yeah, that's what they were saying that we were. This is one of those things Ashley and I sat down and we talked about it where I forget the witch that the older witch that sees the future and stuff like that. She says you're the magician, I think is what she called him, and like you can, bring things to reality just with your mind and things like that. And so we're getting, and that's the really interesting thing is like I think like whenever they decide to continue with this on, I'm definitely going to go back and like rewatch this. And now that I have everything, you're going to pick up on so many things throughout this entire series of little notes here and there of like, oh, okay, now I fully understand this. Because if you go back and see all these different Easter eggs, so many things now make sense or stand out that did not before, just like that. And so clearly Wiccan is just like immensely powerful to a level that we, only have seen with Wanda, and really only like Wanda after touching the dark hold and stuff like that, like that level of power. Because obviously
she didn't have the dark hold on WandaVision when she
I know she had that, so that was that too, but I think he's like gone that and then some, you know what I mean? Like I think he is, yes, he's in the early stages of it, but I think he is surpassing that level of where Wanda was at that particular time, and kind of like reaching the level she was at once she got the dark hold. But hopefully, it doesn't go that direction.
So he's young, he's untrained, which is when you're the most powerful, but you're also the most dangerous because he hasn't had a teacher yet to teach him how, and he's not fully aware of his power and that he's creating these things. He only becomes aware of it once he gets back in his room and he realizes that everything from these trials in the road is stuff from his room and his life that means something to him. That he's the one who created it. So the whole time it's all subconscious chaos magic. So yeah, that's why it's so powerful.
Brandon, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I thought this was destined to flop. Because we were all talking about it too after Deadpool. We're like, why in the hell are they following this with, after Deadpool? And I'm shocked, and I'll admit when I'm wrong that was, like you said, that was one of the best Marvel TV shows that we've had, period. And I think it blew a lot of people away. Some of the ratings, if you've looked at it too, they don't do it justice. Like not even close. That's one that I'll stand by, that the ratings are way, way off on this, that they need to be way higher. Now, the episode where they introduced Lady Death, that skyrocketed. But I thought that was kind of funny because it started. Yeah, dude, speaking of costuming, god damn, that was some seriously good work with her.
And they used practical
makeup. I know. It's like how,
like obviously they layer stuff on top of it, but the initial mask is there.
Yeah, like exactly. And it's not CGI. That's what it is. Very, very impressive here. But yeah, to introduce her, I wasn't expecting. I don't remember if it was you, Andrew, or someone else in another group chat said, "Don't look at the Funkos for this because they're gonna." Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they're gonna spoil it. I didn't look at it. quite honestly, I didn't
don't
care.
know.
I thought this show was gonna fucking flop,
Mhm.
and it, and I was glad to know when they said death. Also, I didn't understand. I just thought, oh yeah, it's just fucking death.
Yeah,
you know,
death
like,
is coming
oh,
for us. Okay, yeah.
Grim Reaper, woo, you know.
Mhm.
And then I read a comment where someone said something about Thanos' love interest, and then it clicked. I was like, oh fuck, that was Lady Death. And I was like, oh my god. So yeah, that's this is just, it's so cool. Because you know, to see that they can do something so spectacular with just a side character of a side character show, that means that they have no reason to fuck up anything else going forward, because there was no reason why this should have done as good as it did, and they blew me out of the water with it. The ending was phenomenal. My only real anything other than just pure positive feedback on the show was that it seemed, in a very, very, very minor way, from what we were talking about with Venom kind of being, you know, pointless overall story arc, that there was a little bit of that in this show with Tommy, because they start off the show like, oh, we gotta go, you know, Wiccan's like, I gotta find Tommy, and you know, that was the whole point of the whole show, the whole point of the Witch's Road, and he didn't get really any closer other than just realizing his true power, and also like killing a few witches and plus Agatha. You know, it just, there was a little bit of what I wish was a little bit more overarching storyline put into this, a little bit more justice for why they went through all of
brought
it.
Tommy to life, though.
I was going to say, I
Yeah.
have to disagree
Correct.
with you there, because he did technically pull him out of the ether, if you will. And now he's been, like, I don't know how you're supposed to say this, deposited into a body in this universe.
Somewhere, yeah.
Somewhere. They didn't find him. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But he was like holding on to his brother's essence the entire time and didn't realize it, and was able to bring him into the real world once again. So yeah, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, you know, it just, there, to me, there should have been a little bit more on that front, and then it would have been just 10 out of 10 in my book. But other than that, you know, I can't complain too much. It was just a solid watch all the way through, and I haven't felt that refreshed from something that was strictly MCU Marvel in a long time.
That's high praise right there. Josh, we're gonna finish it out with you for this one.
Well, I'll eat my words on it. I've been on record, you know, shitting on the show since day one, since they announced it, and I really, really loved it. I do like the possibilities that this show left us with. So I don't know if you guys are really familiar with the Children's Crusade, the comic book run. And that one, basically, Billy and Tommy are on the hunt trying to find their mother, the Scarlet Witch. And in that comic run, they actually find her in Latveria, because after she gets, like, almost dies and she gets really hurt, she goes to Dr. Doom for help, and that's how they start their whole love story.
Oh my god!
I kind of think that that's
trying to make this happen
No.
so much. Dude.
No. But I kind of think that's what they're doing here, because I think there's been rumors of a Wiccan show, so I think that show is obviously going to tie into Wiccan trying to find his brother Tommy, and then where they're going to go on a hunt for
I'm
their
just
mother,
gonna say,
obviously,
it. Josh, we get it. You want to fuck Scarlet Witch. Can we please move on? Like,
Scarlet Beard and the Scarlet Witch, brother.
But no, fuck, I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
no,
I bet you
in the
did.
comic
I
book
bet you
run-
did. He put some images in your head.
No, there's a legitimate comic book story. And
That's very
so basically, at the end of Multiverse of Madness, she gets crumbled by a bunch of rocks. So obviously, maybe she's very weakened, and maybe somehow she finds her way to Doctor Doom. I know it's multiverse, so I don't know how they would, but maybe that they find her with that, and that's, and a Doom saying that's where they find her at. So I thought that'd be kind of cool if they went that route with it. But as far as the show goes, like I said, it succeeded my expectations. A lot of fun. I think John Locke did a great. Believe that's his name. Who plays Wiccan? Who plays Billy? I think he did a fantastic job on the show. I don't know anything about him. I know he plays in some show on Netflix.
Heartstopper.
Yeah. So I don't.
Based off that book
I don't know
series.
nothing about him.
He's a
But
pretty
I think-
fresh actor, I believe.
Yeah, he's very new.
So I think he did a fantastic job. Obviously, Catherine Hahn killed it as always, and I did love that the whole. I don't know. I completely lost my train of thought. Sorry, I'm tired. But yeah, I thought the show was fantastic. The only thing I think that I could have done more is they put so much like tease. I know they weren't gonna show the Scarlet Witch, but they should at least kind of gave us like a glimpse that she was alive, and like there was no post credit scene. All they had to do was just show like some kind of red light or her eye open up or something. There's some kind of indication that she's alive or something. But I feel like that part was a missed opportunity. But as a show itself, I would, because it took a few episodes for me to really get into. Like the first ones wasn't really my cup of tea. So it took a bit for me to get into. I'm not big on musical. There was a lot of singing involved with it, which some of the songs were catchy.
That was
That's catchy.
And then, so I think overall I'd give the show like a 7.5 out of 10. But it's up there. I think it's in my top 5 favorite MCU related.
10 out of 10 for you,
shows.
Ashlyn. 10 out of 10 for Kat. Brandon.
I'd say 9 out of 10.
I'm right there with you. 9 out of 10 for me.
I will say, and he hit on something that I should have said earlier because I've told it to Kat a couple times. Somebody fucking phone Lucasfilm and tell them that's how you do a goddamn chanting song and make it work. That's what you do.
No,
and that's how you do it in key.
To be fair, I'm not saying that one other one isn't bad because it's just terrible.
Fucking
but
awful.
that one's a chant. This is a song. This is an actual song.
Both of them.
This has multiple verses and a chorus. That one's literally just the same thing over and over again.
Off the top of it, it wasn't really because you could hear the chiming in the background. It was like, I don't know. But
again, I'm not saying the other one's not bad because it is bad. But I'm just saying, like, it's two very different things. But you're right. They should have worked together a little bit. Like, it's the same. It's Disney. Someone can write a tune. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they write them for all their other freaking
That's
movies.
how you summon something right there. That's how you
summon the fans right there.
Yeah,
that
you summon the fans.
and of course this one right here. That's how you summon some fans too. Everybody, all the fans, all the fans. The only fans not not excluded. What? Moving on. So real quick, because we're going over an hour here, I just want to do a quick show and tell because it's been a little while. Give everybody a chance if they have something they want to show off. I'm gonna start with Ashlyn here. So I've got her photo right here. Ashlyn, why don't you tell us about your newest statue here?
So this is part of J. Scott Campbell, who is a big Marvel cover. He does a lot of the Amazing Spider-Man runs, but these are a series of statues that are his original concept characters. This one is Sultana. This is not Jasmine. This has nothing to do with Disney. There's a lot of confusion and misconception. This is a character based on 101 Arabian Nights.
1001.
1001 Arabian Nights. And so you've got carpet, you've got the genie hand with the flames, and this one he chose to do a red outfit with. So yes, there are similarities, but this is technically the original character. This is not like the Iron Studio statues. This is not licensed by Disney. It has nothing to do with Disney. She's
laying into this a lot because every time it's posted, people just like Jasmine, Disney, like it's like over and over again in every platform.
If the lamp wasn't there, I was gonna say Moana first thing. Blue, it's the Moana, with the blue waves, because the blue waves and the red outfit. That's what caught my eye first was the blue and the red, and I was like, oh, Moana. Oh wait, it's the lamp and a carpet.
So he is my favorite artist. I have several different of his other fairy tale fantasies characters. So I've got a Red Riding Hood, a Tinkerbell, Alice from Alice in Wonderland. So that was my big purchase that finally came in that I've been working on paying off for a while. So super excited for that. We are pushing really hard. He asked people as far as what your next statue to put out is. So we're trying to push for his Beauty and the Beast because it's really cool. So I'm hoping that'll be the next one coming out. But definitely go check out his stuff. It's really, really good. And like I said, if you like his art style, he is big with Amazing Spider-Man covers. He also does a couple of other different properties, but his name is J. Scott Campbell. Most people, if you are in comics world, know who that is.
Brandon, how about you?
I kind of got a two-parter. Just because I'm gonna give Mr. McCoy over here some credit because he did his very first consignment. Woo! And he knocked it out of the park up in New York City Comic Con. He got me Josh Brolin on my Thanos pop.
Let me see if I can get you on the big screen here. Hold on one second.
No, that's okay. It's all good.
Josh, can you do that? There we go.
There you
Boom,
go.
let's go. Yeah, so I got it in my armor already, but yeah, and Josh did a good job with the pen work and everything, and Brolin actually put the character name, which I was hoping he would.
Except for Swallow throwing their pens at me.
Yeah, those bastards. So that was the first one. The second one was a very like impulse purchase. We were literally at Universal when this was going down, and I was texting somebody like trying to get an authentication review real quick just so I could buy it, because it did not come with authentication, but I got it authenticated this past weekend, and that is one that I was not expecting to have in like the near future, but that's Pedro Pascal on a Mandalorian. So
Nice.
and apparently it's from a sit down signing. They do not believe this was a street graph, so I don't know.
It doesn't look like one, that's for sure.
No, I've seen the street graphs. It's really way too clean for that. So
that is one of the best autographs I've ever seen. I'm just gonna, like, I know that sounds ridiculous, but honestly, that is one of the cleanest autographs I've ever seen on a pop.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
clean,
he did good on that. I don't know exactly all the details. The person I bought it from somebody else already signed, so it's already passed through a few hands. But I got really lucky on the price, and I made a few people really jealous and angry over it. So
And what a
They're a little
nice big
salty.
signature too. Like,
oh yeah,
it's so
Really
large,
cool.
but like well done. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
it's-
there's so
it's
many of
super
them that
clean.
like are just the squiggles, or like if they do
Mhm.
write their whole name, it's like like
Yeah.
that.
On
you
the
know?
street. I've seen some, and one person that I don't know if I pissed him off, but it seemed like I pissed him off when I showed him it. He got one for a little bit more than that. Where there was a worse signature, and he signed vertically on the pop, and it just
Oh,
it's not the best eye catching appearance, but
I mean, at least
Pedro's a Pedro.
if he's not doing like just his initials, it's like PP. You know, just
Yeah.
like,
Well, he shortened it now. I mean, it's not even that anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure it will be in the next sit down signing he does.
right, but not for normal things. Like,
no, on the street, ever since Last of Us, and he's gotten so much more hype, he's
mhm.
quick now. He doesn't do the full thing. So I don't know why I have it. It just it was really just pure chance and luck, and I was looking at it at the right time.
Oh, I'm
So-
super jealous. I got to tell you, like that. I'm
Thank you.
super jealous of that one. But
Yeah,
I'm definitely
I'm
not
so fan.
not going to pay the like $800-900 that
No,
most
I'm
people
not-
sell
oh,
them
I'm-
for.
No, I'm not selling that. If
Oh
I
no,
do,
not you. I just mean normal people like selling it. Like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
I'm good.
it's-
I'm good.
he goes up, man. That's for sure.
Kat, you got anything for us?
I do. Now mine's not as clean as Brandon's. It's a rainbow. So it's a
Oh,
signed
the Sabrina one.
But I finished it off. So it
That's
actually has
awesome.
Melissa on there now. It has Eliza, who played Morgan, Nick, Salem, Libby. It's got the ants.
Holy shit!
And Harvey's on here too.
Oh, that's
So it's
awesome.
got basically the whole cast. I think I'm
That's
missing, like,
impressive,
one
especially
person.
on that size pop. That's very impressive.
I know they had to like really squeeze it in there.
She-
She's like, I had to put my glasses on for this. I'm like, "Dude,
She went out.
please."
She went out to 90s Con in Daytona and was like, "I'm just gonna get Melissa, and then I'm gonna come back home." Melissa's the main person, and she plays
She's
Sabrina. And
Yeah.
that was the only one she had left. She left a big space up there, and then Melissa signed small. And then she's like started looking at who else was there. She's like, you know what? There's two other people from
Crap.
Sabrina here. I could probably fit two more. I was like, don't do it. And she did it, and it somehow it fit, and no one overlapped or anything.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The first three are like real tight, but they worked.
Yeah, that's great. Like, because y'all know, like, I did that with like the Pokemon one, and I have one
Mhm.
for the Power Rangers one, but at least that one's on a larger Funko. So like,
Mhm.
you never know how it's going to turn out. And
Yeah.
even with the Pikachu one, because I was trying to leave room in the front for some of the like main people. That's why I had Angelo do the back for for Professor Oak and
Yep.
Officer Jenny. I was like, you know what? I'm never
Just
going to
in
sell
case.
this thing, so fuck it. Like, just sign the whole box. I don't even
That's
care
right.
at this point.
Yep.
Josh,
That's
you
how
got
I am
anything?
with my Doctor Who one. I
Yeah,
have,
you're just
like,
trying to get everything.
this little small spot, and I'm gonna have Matt Smith like squeeze.
Oh my god, he's just gonna like his initials, you know? Just like,
That's all he does. That's all he does.
oh really?
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
Yeah.
it's MS.
I guess that
so-
works then, you know.
Yeah.
Josh, you got anything to show us?
It's not as cool as the Pedro Pascal, but I finally got my WandaVision thing,
I
freshly
mean,
framed, and
That's pretty up there,
fire,
though.
actually.
Honestly,
Yeah.
to
You
have both.
shut the hell up. That's really fucking awesome. Fucking great. God.
So- but no, I finally got this professionally framed. Paul Bettany, Elizabeth Olsen. I finished it between MegaCon and New York Comic Con, and now my next project is to finish my Avengers print and then my Tom Holland one. So
Yeah,
Got-
dude,
got a
I don't know
ways
what
to
you're
go.
talking about. That's
Yeah,
like
it's
just
clean
up
as
there with
fuck.
Pedro Pascal, honestly.
Yeah.
To me, it
Like-
is. Yeah.
I just think Pedro is a lot more rare.
Shut the. I'm just kidding.
He said, "Shut up."
Shut
I mean,
up.
I get
how
what you're
how long
saying.
is that
Quit doubting
Twilight signing
yourself.
been? It's been like 5 years and people haven't gotten it yet. So
There
Well,
is
that's
that, but
why
there's
you-
also just as few people that have both of their signatures on something. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like
Yeah.
they'll have one or the other, but they don't
I'm
always
still
have
waiting
both.
for Elizabeth Olsen
Yeah.
to come down so I can
She's
have
going to
her
get like 3 different things signed, I swear, when
Yeah.
she finally shows
my
up.
sister's hoping that she comes to MegaCon. So
Fingers
I
crossed.
can see it happening.
And then just real quick, I'll show mine. This is just update on my my Tron piece that luckily Brandon was nice enough to get some extra autographs on. And Cat.
And
Cat.
Cat.
Yes, sorry. I apologize. I forgot
Oh, yeah,
about
I had to
Tampa.
go through John
Cat-
Glover, and he was weird, man.
Yeah, I remember you
True.
saying that. I forgot about
Yeah.
Tampa.
I forgot you
Uh,
did add that one.
But yeah, this is for the cast of Tron Uprising. It was a very short-lived series, but I love it, and just trying to get as much of the cast as I possibly can. Working my way through it. Unfortunately, one or two of them have passed, and some of them are like really hard to get. But we'll see what happens. But that's always how it works with these cast pieces. You never know, what you'll be able to work out. I did see that the voice, not just the voice, but the actual actor that played Tron is going to be doing something, not here, unfortunately, but wherever he's going, I will send this thing to, because I need his autograph so bad. And he is not young. He is definitely up there in age, and I'm running out of time. So hoping to get that done next year. So, but with all that said, I think that's it's going to be the show. Real quick, we'll go around, let everybody know where they can find you. Ashlyn?
Everyone can find me at bookbrat90 on Instagram, TikTok. Now that we have our lives back and we're not doing HHN every single night, I'll be back to doing some fun videos and hopefully doing some more cool stuff. I've got some projects going around the house because when do I ever not? So hopefully, hey, they're almost done. We're
She
really
said
close.
for the 100th time, but yes, please continue.
So have some updates that we've done on the apartment. So I'm going to be sharing those as well as some fun art, because we're always buying art. So just stay tuned for things like that.
Brandon, how about you?
Venture Authentics on all platforms. We're pretty much done with cons for the year. There's one I'm eyeballing and I might be announcing tomorrow. I'm going to make a final decision here in the next few hours if I'm doing it or not.
Oh, we'll be on our toes about that one.
Yeah.
Kat, thank you so much for joining us for the first time
Mhm.
officially. Really
Thank you
appreciate
for
that.
having me.
Did you have fun?
I did. It
Oh,
was
you're
a good
just
time
lying.
talking
It's
to you
fine.
guys.
But hopefully we'll have you on again sometime soon.
Yeah,
Anything that people can follow you on?
just Venture Authentics as well.
Okay, sounds good. Josh, how about you, bud?
same as always. You can find me McCoy Culture on all the socials, but Twitter, because I've yet to make a Twitter.
It's X.
X,
X.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Whatever.
Sorry, Elon.
It's very
And,
musky over there.
You can find me at Andrew is Losing on all social media, and be sure to follow Retroactive on Instagram, TikTok, and of course right here on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Hopefully we'll be able to do some more stuff now that we're out of the Halloween season. But I want to thank you guys so much for joining us today. Like I said, be sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we will see you guys next time.